Welcome to the Javier Mendes podcast. We are back with Coach Javier in sunny Dubai. I'm sure it's sunny out there, huh?
Windy.
Windy?
Yeah, a little windy.
Is this the time of year where you guys go for the camping trips out in the desert?
Don't. Yeah, sometimes like yeah. I think
Okay.
so. I don't, but they go. There's a camping trip that they all go. I forgot what the name of it's called, but a whole bunch of people get together. Almost 100,000 or so go camping.
That's pretty cool.
It's like the Burning Man,
Mm-hmm.
Not the same, but same kind of gathering.
So we just had some pretty interesting fights yesterday. It was a big name fell, of course, just starting with the top of the card. I mean, Israel Adesanya got knocked out. Did you see that replay on that?
No, I didn't. I didn't see it. I heard he accidentally got poked, and he should have taken more time off. And he said Israel said, "No, I'm good." And then he got hit with the like, overhand right in the cheekbone.
Yeah, he got knocked out, dude. So he's
Like
kind of
cold,
on that
right?
streak. It's like, I don't know. He's had a few losses now, so it's kind of like tough part of the career. What do you think happens from here?
I don't know because most guys that are at this situation, they fall off. Very few of these guys bounce back. Tony Ferguson, Tyron Woodley, Luke Rockhold. I mean, you name it. DC. You name it. They're all once. Anderson Silva. Once they start that roller coaster, Chris Weidman. It's like on and on. I can keep going on and on and on about these guys. It's. I don't know, it's kind of hard for them to get back on when they're getting off like that. So I don't think Israel is in that category just yet. But if it happens again, like that, it's kind of tough, kind of tough to mentally get back because a lot of people don't realize it, but a lot of this is more mental than anything. They don't realize that. They think it's, think it's the physical abilities, but yeah, there is a lot to do with it. But mental is more important than the physical if you understand it.
Yeah, I mean, he's on a 3-fight losing streak now. It is almost the Tony curse. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah, I don't know because people I asked who was winning the first round, and they said he definitely was winning the first
yeah.
round.
He looked
So
great.
so
He looked
yeah,
great.
so that's kind of like not a Tony thing. Tony hasn't looked great, other than, when he started going on his losing streak, Tony hadn't looked great for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He just never quit, and he's still not quitting. Tony's still fighting, but I'm just saying, in reference to putting Israel on that, I don't think just yet we should say that because I think, he just got caught. I mean, he's one of those guys that I don't think he's on that train yet, but at the same time I say that, what happens if he loses again? Then I guess we have to, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be, and it's like I'm not calling that curse or anything, but 3 in a row. So it was Nasruddin Imavov knocked him out. Dricus beat him by a face crank submission. Well, that sounds like a Habib move. And Sean Strickland did the decision. And Sean
Yeah.
Strickland looked
Let's,
really
let's see,
dominant.
please. Yeah, but those guys beat him, but they didn't beat. Sean Strickland was the only dominant one. Dricus was not dominant. He
Well, he
was
got a
not dominant at
submission.
all.
He got the
Yeah,
submission though.
but he was having
Yeah,
a tough time. So Dricus was kind of one of those. He wanted it more, so he got it. But I don't necessarily see him as he was whooping his butt. I looked at it. That was a pretty close fight that I thought I was actually giving the edge to Izzy. And then this one here, from what I hear, Izzy won the first round. So again, I'm not. No, he's just based on the two fights I did see where he was, with Sean Strickland. Yeah, he thoroughly got just. I didn't understand that one. That was a definite, not him. But then like Duplessis, he basically he was doing great until he wasn't. And this
right.
one here,
Same
he was
thing.
doing great. Yeah, so that just means he's still there. He's still in it. Let's not put him in that category just yet. I think he's still, he's like one fight away type thing from being back.
There's we'll know when we see it next time where everything's going. Yeah, more conclusively, of course. Well, then you've got Michael Venom Page looked amazing against Shara Bullet. who kept coming, kept putting the pressure. But I mean, Michael Page is such a great counter fighter. You know,
Well, like someone asked me, I didn't want to watch the fight. I was gonna. It was like for me, it was like I said, I just I saw the talent to both of them, and Shada really great at striking, Muay Thai style wise. But Michael Venom Page is a master striker at karate point style. And if you are not going to take Michael Venom Page down, and you're not going to try to take him down, it's going to be a very one-sided, not too exciting of a fight, in my opinion. I didn't see the fight, so I don't know if it was exciting or not. But
it
I've seen
was.
enough karate. I've seen enough karate tournaments to know that Shada probably couldn't get him because he was too far away from him. Because that's what karate point fighters do. They're masters at it. Michael MVP, he's unbelievable at that. He's the one guy that can make strikers look stupid.
Well, that's part of it, but it's also like he had good clinch work. He had good, takedown resistance as well. So he's been working on that. It looks like he put in some work, and he's learning like how to leverage his height. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
With
but
underhooks.
But Shada's no takedown expert by any means. He's not. He's not.
Yeah,
He's not a polished grappler like Team Habib or some of the other guys. He's not. He's more of a striker himself. So to me, you have two strikers that basically you know they have to strike. And I mean, let's see Michael Venom Page do this against somebody that's a real grappler. Then that's different. But like Hamzat Shemaya, try that on Hamzat, see what happens. It ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry. I mean, as good as he is, you have to have grappling, real grappling, to be able to stand with someone like Shemaya because he'll take you down real quick.
yeah, that'd be an interesting one to see. I mean, I'm just seeing it's like to get to that takedown with this guy. I mean, if you're great working from the single leg because he's sideways and he leads out that way, yeah. But just
No, he's no easy guy, man. He's a great fighter.
no, it's like trying to catch
No,
a greased
yeah,
snake. It's
yeah,
like slip out of your
you're
hands
gonna have
every
to
time
be
to
like I
catch.
said, someone like a Hamza Shemaya type guy. That's the kind of guy that is his kryptonite because he ain't not gonna be able to handle that kind of pressure that Hamza would put on him.
Yeah.
But Shada is not that guy. He's the guy that's gonna do the kickboxing, Thai boxing style, and that's up MVP's alley. That's perfect for him. 'Cause this guy is a genuine run of the real. I mean, really, really great striker.
Well, Shauna really had a hard time closing the distance to punch. So
Yeah,
he was most of his stats were leg kicks because Michael Venom Page has head movement like yeah, it's like on a stick,
yeah.
it's on a
Like I
swivel.
said, those
You know?
point karate fighters, they're especially guys like him, bro.
Yeah,
They're the distance is fantastic. Yeah, about the only thing you can't do is the leg kick because they're in and out. They're in and out. It's tough to get them, man. And I didn't see the fight, like I said, but just knowing how great he is as a karate point fighter and how he uses it in MMA, I mean,
yeah.
he's unbelievable. And then if you risk too much coming in on him, he can crush you. Like some guys come in thinking that, and all of a sudden he crushed them. No, it's very tricky to fight someone like him on a stand-up. You have to, basically, honestly speaking, you got to take his butt down. Otherwise, it's going to be a long night for you.
The heavyweights, it was you'd think oh, this is gonna be slobber knocking, two powerful guys, but they were training partners, so they were reading each other. So there was a lot of tentativeness to really get the motion going between Sergey Pavlovich and Jairzinho Rosenstreak. Like
Yeah.
they were like, test, I don't know. People were booing at different times. Like booing in Saudi Arabia, but it is what it is. It's like one big strike and it's all over. That's the difference in the heavyweight fight. Everyone's waiting for the huge,
It didn't
hammer.
happen, right? It was 30-27, 30-27, 30-27.
Yeah, it's because Jorginho's output was minimal. I mean, it wasn't because
He's always that way though. Rosinho is like he stays complacent. He's not
yes,
a okay, I need to go kill it. He just stays steady. He stays
right.
steady. There's no sense of urgency. No sense of urgency. So if Sergey is putting the pressure and continue putting the pressure, Rosenstrick would just stay where he's at. Rosinho would just stay where he's at. He'll just stay there, stay there, stay there. He won't put that pressure on like he should. I mean, I've seen him do it too many times. He's complacent all the time. You know, greatest striker as he is, if someone's putting pressure on him, he's just kind of okay, I'm going through my motion. I've seen it too many times, you know. And Sergey probably put a lot of pressure on him, I'm assuming, you know. And if you're not countering perfectly, it's tough. It's tough.
Not that
Perfectly.
much pressure,
Here I
more like
said that
he
outside
did. Go ahead, sorry.
outside punching.
Yeah, more outside. I mean, he didn't push
Yeah,
that hard.
that's
Eh,
what I'm talking about. He didn't push outside pressure. Boom, boom, boom. You know,
yeah,
it keeps it busy, keep it busy. So you know, he didn't push it, you know. So, now I'm not talking about inside brawl, brawl. No, that's where he does great. That's where he does great. If you come inside brawl, brawl, I'm sorry, you guys, if you guys misunderstood me, maybe I'm lack of sleeping, but no, I look at it as if you come in brawl with Rosinho, you're gonna get something back. But if you stay outside and just pick, yeah, he stays complacent. He doesn't push the issue.
didn't he? When he first started, I thought he was going to be the next Ngannou's like twin, and like two immovable objects were going to collide. But then he was like just sitting there when Ngannou just went off on him, and he never got started. So it's kind of like when I first saw him start the UFC, I'm like, oh, exciting, a new heavyweight addition. This guy's just going to smoke everybody. But then he got tentative. So strange. Just seen that change over his time in the UFC.
Yeah, yeah, you know, it happens. What are you gonna say?
The other fight that was a pretty good fight, and this guy called out Umar, was Vinicius Oliveira. He fought Said Nurmagomedov, and I was asking you earlier. I go, is that one of your guys? You're like, no, he's not. He's not one of ours. He doesn't train with the team per se.
No, I've never seen him train with the team, and he's not a cousin, so it's just a last name.
Oh, I see what happens there. Well, the Vinicius guy, constant pressure. Like they basically said they were like windmill fighting, spinning and spinning at each other, like they were getting tired. But his whole goal was to use cardio to break this guy, and cardio was the ultimate tool, was to wear a guy down. I mean, that's becoming the weapon again in here. I mean, you had cardio Kane, so uh, that's a weapon. I mean, how of all your fighters, how many of your fighters would you think that were really the cardio machines that would never break down, or you knew their cardio was going to make a challenge to their opponent 90% of the time?
Well, Kane was definitely number one. You know, there's a few other ones that had incredible cardio, but no one really else comes to mind as far as that kind of cardio. Habib would come to mind as, you know, but he would get tired, but he kept pushing mentally because he's super mentally strong.
Right.
So I would say those two come to mind more than anybody of my guys.
So is there anything you can do to push that? I mean, I used to do running. You think it's more road work? Do you think it's swimming? What do you think it is that's going
Uh,
to push altitude?
you know, it's hard to say. You know, it's if everybody does the right work, you know, keeps their body healthy. You know, yeah. I mean, I mean, enough road work. You know, sprints. You know, long distance running, hill. You know, sprints. You know, I mean, there's just so many things that get you there, but it's like such a hard sport because there's so many things you need to do. You know, and uh, but one of the things I know that I used to do, with my guys, I don't do it now, but I used to make them do 440s. You know, they used to have to go once around the track, and they had to come under 1 minute 30 seconds, and
Mm-hmm.
then after that, they can only get 1 minute rest, and then they have to go again in under 1 minute 30 seconds. So we'd have these guys do that, and they'd run and run and run, and the guy that would always do the best, that did the actually best out of any one of my guys, was Islam. Islam got
Yeah.
the lowest time. I think he got like one time of 440, and continuously it was like 59 seconds, I think. And then the next one was like 102, 103. The next one was the same. So Islam was pretty good at that. He was the best one. Other one that was really good was Josh the Punk Thompson. He was pretty good,
Yeah.
at that. But yeah, that 440 with only 1 minute rest. And the key behind it was you get 1 minute rest, but if you can recuperate quicker, you go before that. So that's the key. If you get to the point where you do 140 and you make it under 130, and then you go again and you make it under 130 again, that's fantastic. Because what I used to do, I got to the point where I would only take 5 to 15-second breaks, and I'd go again, and I still make it. And that got me in such incredible shape. But none of my guys actually stuck to that. I showed them it, but they didn't stick to it. But I did. But you have to be self motivated. If you're not self motivated, you're not going to be there. And I'd be showing up at the track and don't want to show up. So then I say, okay, well, I don't push nobody. If you don't want to be there, you don't have to be there. I'm not gonna push you in the cage. You got to do it yourself. So that's my attitude, and that's fine. I never get upset when they don't show it.
Well, I mean, you get the Diaz brothers that have always used triathlons, right?
Yeah.
But and that's great. But then there's grapple cardio. I mean, you try to wrestle. If you don't wrestle, you wrestler, you'll be breathing through your ears.
Yeah, you could do
A
other
minute in.
cardio. If you don't do that, you're in trouble. But it goes hand in hand with everything you do. You
Right.
have to practice it all. You can't just think you're gonna grapple, and then go into it, and then you're striking. Then all of a sudden you're gonna left depleted again because you didn't do enough striking. You have to do it all. Unless you're some amazing guy.
Coming up, and this before I go into it, there's been some back and forth about Dricus going, oh yeah, Islam, that would be an easy fight. I'll take it. So he's like throwing out the like come and get it kind of invitation in a way for Islam. That's 2 weight classes. What do you think about that for Islam?
I've said that it could happen, but Islam would have to put on some muscle, and he's definitely talented enough to deal with them. That's not a problem. The problem is the weight, and how much of it is going to be put on him. Definitely can fight him, but I would think that he'd want to put on some more muscle. I'm very confident in Islam. If he says he can do it, I believe he can do it. So if anybody can do it, he can. But I still think he'd have to put on some muscle to be able to compete at the way he would feel comfortable. 170, not a problem. He can do that. But 185, I think he'd have to put a little bit of muscle, and he can do that too. But it's just like what John Jones did when he went to heavyweight. It's like, yeah, you could do it, but John Jones didn't just go to heavyweight. He put on some good muscle. So it's the smart way to go is the way John Jones did it. Is if Islam ever did it, he'd have to do that.
That weight difference, that's the power, that's how comfortable they are at that weight. And they weigh different when they walk in the cage. I mean, I used to have Rumble come by our gym, Anthony Rumble Johnson. He would cut from he'd walk at 215. He would cut to 170 to fight.
I know.
Yeah.
I've seen him. He used to come. He came to my gym when he first started with Kung Lee, and I put him in there with Josh Thompson because I asked him what weight he fought at. He said 170, and I looked at him. He looked very big. For some reason, I just didn't think nothing of it, and I put him in with Josh Thompson to spar. And at the end, Josh Thompson said, "Man, why'd you have me spar with him?" I go, "Well, you guys are the same weight almost." He goes, "No, he's like 200 something pounds," and I'm like. I said, damn, he did look kind of big. That's big boo-boo on my part. I didn't pay attention.
Oh, it was the super cutter, man. 45-pound cut.
Yeah, he was a super cutter. I mean, unbelievable. That guy was the nicest guy, man. God rest his soul, and may God, still overlook him. That guy he's a gem, man. He was a gem.
I knew him for a long time, took a lot of road trips with him. He was a really good dude. I mean,
he was a gem, bro. He was a gem. He was just a beautiful guy.
It's interesting. I think he fight at heavyweight? I think he did. I know he fought a light heavyweight. And
he fought a light heavyweight. He fought a light heavyweight. I don't know about heavyweight. He might have fought heavyweight too. I'm not sure. But he was a big boy.
Well, think about it. He went all the way up to, light heavyweight, right? And I remember, this is the crazy thing. We were on a trip to San Diego and we're sitting there and I get Mike Kyle, your other fighter, sitting there and Anthony's sitting there. Anthony's the welterweight and Mike Kyle's in the front. Like Mike Kyle's like the big guy and they end up fighting and he ends up having, too much power for Mike in that fight. And it's like, I would have guessed those two would have ever fought. I always thought, oh, well, he's the weight thing, like you thought when you had him spar with your guy.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the difference. But here's the thing I want to point out is that going up in weight in his case, it doesn't translate for everybody. But because it didn't translate for Izzy going up into the light heavyweight. It was too much weight, right? And you could
too much weight, yeah.
That's why he didn't just dominate and win that fight.
It doesn't. That's like I'm saying. With Islam, his abilities is fantastic, but I just think that he'd have to put on some muscle. He could definitely do it. And look, I'm not saying he couldn't win at where he's at now, but I think ideally, he should put on some weight.
Yeah, that's the differential right there. I guess you got to live at that weight for a little bit, I guess, and it can't be
It's
fat.
not easy. It's not easy to go up in weight like that, And one of the easiest ways to do it, and which I would never recommend it, is steroids. I would never tell somebody to do that
Yeah.
because that to me it's like you're cheating, and I'm not advocating cheating. I'm not. So
No,
I would
I
never
get it.
tell a guy. So it takes time. It takes time to build up for that.
Yeah, our podcast would be over. You hear that podcast? No, I'm kidding. But I'm just thinking, like, to go up in size, I can see that, like, Dricus probably walks at 215, 220 based on looking at his physiology.
Yeah, I would say 207, 210, somewhere in that. I mean, he could be heavier because he's a big guy, but I would say around that general area. Luke Rockhold used to fight at 185, and he'd walk around 205, somewhere around there. So so Dricus looks bigger than Luke. So yeah, I think you could be right. You could be right. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking he could be in that range.
This would probably take half a year to put on that kind of weight. I mean, you don't add that much muscle. It's going to be
You
mixed.
can't, you can't, you can't, you can't. I mean, the only guy that I remember that did unbelievable and should be, you know, people don't know or haven't thought about it, but BJ Penn. BJ Penn was one of those amazing guys that went up in a different weight category. I mean, he even fought Loyola Machida, for God's sake, when Machida was more like a heavyweight and BJ fought him. BJ's, dude, he was a major, major, major GOAT, And,
Yeah, he
and
fought at light
he's one of
heavyweight all the way down to lightweight.
yeah, he's the only one that I know of, and he won two titles. Remember, he was a welterweight champion and he was a lightweight champion. And
It's
he's
true.
amazing, truly, truly amazing, and his physique never changed. He was
It
still
was
that
just
one
weight.
lightweight guy, still the same guy, and but he fought. He was that tough, that tough.
It was thicker. That's for sure. Like I'm just saying, like, how do you catch up? That's the question about the double jump in the weight class, and part of that's because your guys, who's the current champion, friends of the Habib family. But yeah, I think welterweight would be a
Bilal
really
Muhammad,
yeah,
Bilal
Bilal
Muhammad.
Muhammad. I think welterweight would be a lot easier jump, don't you think?
Oh, easy. I mean, he can do welterweight. I had zero problem with welterweight. Zero.
Like,
And,
hey,
but
2 months from now,
there's
let's go.
there's just the same amount I have confidence in him. It's the same amount of chances I think that'll happen. It's almost like zero. I'm not saying that it won't because I don't know. I don't control them like that. I don't control them at all. Actually, I just go with whatever my guys say. I'm good with what they say. But if they ask my opinion, I give them my opinion, but my opinion doesn't get asked on who they're going to fight. They just tell me, Coach, I'm fighting so and so. Okay, when do we start camp? That's it. That's how it works for me. It's not like I'm in the discussion with who they're going to fight. I'm not. I've never been in the discussion. They tell me after the fact, after it's done. I'm told the majority of the time. Once in a while, they'll tell me beforehand, but usually it's after the fact.
Yeah, when it's all locked and loaded on paper. You're not over sign the contract. You're like, huh? Who? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, before I also jump on, did I bring up Veniscus trying to call out Umar? I mean, he's a little bit down in the ranks to be making that thing. I think Umar's too close to. First of all, he has to heal, and
Well,
second of
first of
all,
all, Umar has to heal, and then he's got to get back on the road to recovery for fighting, and he's going to have to, fight whoever the UFC puts in front of him. So maybe it's this guy. I don't know. Whatever the UFC says, Umar's going to take whatever they give him. So he's not going to complain about nothing. He's just going to take it. The only thing is, let's get him healthy and ready to go. Right now, we're not even in that position. He just barely got surgery, but what 2 weeks ago, right? So
yeah.
let's give him a chance to heal.
The upcoming fight is UFC 312 next weekend. Some of the fights, it's an interesting cards, like the main cards. It's probably some well put together fights, but the in my opinion. But these could be really good fights. Sometimes I've watched these fights like I don't even know that guy. They put that one together. Good. You know what I mean? I got to take that objective look because I know we're going to podcast on it and I get surprised. But starts with like Jake Matthews fighting Francisco Prado. Tav?
You froze.
Oh, okay.
Jake Matthews with Francisco Prado.
Yeah. Do you know anything about Jake Matthews from Australia?
Jake Matthews is really, really good. He's very fun to watch. Good everywhere. Good fight. Francisco Prado, I don't know too much about him.
Francisco Prado's last fight was Daniel Zellhuber. Ottoman Altazar beat him. So, did you guys?
Okay. Ottoman is friends with us. He's a brother, so basically, he's with Ali's management, Dominus MMA.
And we do these podcasts. Like we could even memorize the database of 400 fighters, and then there's those that are coming in and going. You remember the top tens most of all, but that's just how it is. I ask anyone else to remember them all. I couldn't remember every football player on a football field, basically. But Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. Jimmy Crute's a pretty hard hitter, if I recall. Are you familiar with him? There we went. How about now?
Wrong.
Okay, you're back.
So call came in. So yeah, a call came in, so it took me off.
It's okay. So the Jimmy Crute, did you hear me on that one? He's fighting Rodolfo Bellato.
Yeah, Jimmy Crute. Yeah, I know him, but the other guy I don't know.
Well, Jimmy Crute's pretty hardcore, but he's had a lot of exciting fights, but he's had a few losses, a draw, 2 losses, a draw, then a loss. So he's fighting for his job, and I suspect, Rodolfo's had 4 wins in a row, so probably favoring him in this fight.
Probably.
Are they related? I don't know. Either one of those names come to mind? Justin Tough, I've seen him fight.
Yeah.
Now this one you'll know. Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez. What do you think about that fight?
That's a great fight. It's a great fight. Is that for a title now?
Title fight.
That's a great fight.
Co-main.
Yeah, that's a great fight. That's a good fight. That one got me wanting to see that. That's two great fighters. That's one's a great champion, the other one soon to be great. That's a very, very good fight.
I think you'll be able to pull that one off because it's in Australia time. So you might be able to watch it down there if you can find a place to watch it.
When is it?
Next on the 8th.
Oh, this
February 8th.
Okay.
Yeah, so when they do that, sometimes when they do, like when they did the one yesterday, it was on early here. It was on early. It was on 6 hours earlier than normal, I think, or 5 something.
Mm-hmm.
Fought once before. I felt that was a really close fight. Like, some people say, well, Sean get robbed. I don't know. I didn't see him super dominated. So, I can see how he feels that way. But, you got to really look at the scorecard. What do you think is going to happen in the rematch?
I don't know because, it's like one of those things where Sean was staying complacent until the very end. He tried to come on strong. But I was like, man, it's like you should have done this earlier. And let's see what he does from the beginning. If he starts off strong, I mean, Sean's he's a beast. So he could do the job. He could take this title back for sure. I wouldn't count him out for it by any means. Look what he did to Adesanya. And if you compare people to people, Dricus didn't do that to Adesanya. Dricus' fight was very close. you know. And if it wasn't for his effort, continues to keep pushing, he might have lost. He was on his way to lose that fight with Adesanya. So
Took him away to get in.
it's a hard way. It's a hard way for me to say who's what, because these two guys are, you know, two champions. You know, one's current, one was a former, and when the former lost, he didn't lose by much. It was very close, very close. And subjectively, you know, maybe if some other people would have been judging, they might have gave it to Strickland. You don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, the fight was that close. I thought Dricus won, but it was not by a big margin, slight margin.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. I think you get Hamzat waiting in the wings too. So that's the fight I want to see. I've seen this fight. Let's see the rematch. I want to see what's after.
Yeah, Hamzat's he's something else. So let's see.
What else is going on with you over there in Dubai? Any fighting stuff coming up or more business?
No, not right now. No, just chilling, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you deserve it.
Yep,
It's
yep.
that time of year. You just had a whole bunch all at once. Was that like stress or energetically? No.
No, nothing. There's nothing. It's normal. This what I do. You know, it's easy. So
No,
this
no
now
fighters
the next
fighting in
thing
any of the leagues over there in Dubai.
No, the only thing I have is I have April 26th, the you know, Global Fight League GFL. We're
Mhm.
fighting in Los Angeles on April 26th. So my team, I think my team versus Miami. I think. I don't know, but until they officially announce it, don't take my word for it, guys. But I think my team's fighting. You know, basically Dubai Falcons were fighting somebody over there, and then in Los Angeles. That's what I've been told, but not officially told. So, but it's okay to throw it out there because the GFL is brand new and a lot of people don't understand. It's a team concept type thing. So, you know, my team doesn't have to win all the fights. We just have to win 6 of them. You know, 6 out of the 10. So then we win. And you know me, I want to win. So, you know, my 6 fighters or my 10 fighters, I want to go 10-0. I don't want to go, you know, 7-3 or 6-4 or, you know, 5-5, or God forbid, you know, we're going 4-6, we lose. I don't want that. I want to win. I want them all my fights. But it's not up to me. It's up to the fighters to do what they need to do to get that victory.
One fight they're pushing to kick things off, which of course the social media would be great, but Tony Ferguson versus Dylan the Troll Dennis, who trolls everybody masterfully. I mean,
Yeah, you know, that'd be actually great. You know, that'd be a great marquee fight. That actually would be really good. Two guys that they actually can talk a lot. One is fought a lot. The other one's fought 2 times or
that's
once.
awesome. So you'll be out there. Hopefully, I'll meet up with you there. Well, Hav, let's see how these fights play out. Anything else before we go?
No.
Okay, everybody, like and subscribe. It's another chill weekend. Hope you're doing well.